All right, guys. So we are live. Thank you so much, Graham, Ketan, Eagle, and Krishna for joining on the last session of our current webinar summit, which is on the deep tech valuation, IP, and investors. The Nexus, all of this is explained. So, guys, we have been having fantastic panel for last 3 days now. We have had 4 panel discussions around 18 amazing speakers came here. These are all the CEOs and CTOs of tech companies. We're talking about their experiences, what explaining their why, and sharing their journey on how they could get learnings from their mentors, their peers, and reach from point A to point B by using all of that learning. So with that experience, we thought, why don't we share all of this knowledge out and talk to more and more people and get into helping basically each and everybody who's listening to us. So thank you so much for accepting our invitations. I'm very fortunate to moderate the session today, guys. We are all coming from different background. Graham is from cybersec space. Igal is again from cyber security space. Ketan is coming. I would say the most learned on the education front. He holds a PhD degree in the image processing space right now, running a startup, and he's in the founder role of that startup as well. Of course, we'll get to know much more about that as well. And Krishna is also a CEO of a tech company. He's helping a lot of government institutions currently for battling COVID and streamlining a lot of IT processes on the COVID front. Whenever he's back, we'll be happy to see him as well. Krishna, I don't know whether you are listening to us or not, but hi to you. All right, guys, thank you so much. So I don't want to take much of your time. Why don't we quickly start introducing ourselves? Let's start with Eagle.
Hi everyone. My name is Igad Beha. Originally, I'm from Israel, Jerusalem. I have experience with taking. Well, I'm not a startup guy. I'm just want to pay my bills, I would say, in the beginning. And I said, okay, I want to start up a business, and so I did. And I did what I know best is to serve IT companies, I mean, take IT services and serve customers. So, and this is back in Israel, in Jerusalem. I did it for 10 years. Then I sold my business to another IT provider that back in the days was my best friend. And we spent a lot of time. Then he took the company, grow it again, sold it again. So my company was sold maybe twice, I don't know, since then. And I decided to move to America, and I started in Philadelphia, and what I knew best is to set up another business. So I started another business. And this time I said, okay, I'm going to do cybersecurity. I want to back up a little bit. So after selling my business there for 10 years, I joined the company called Avnet Deloitte, providing cybersecurity services to government bodies and agencies, banks, and other private companies. And I learned so much, and I said, okay, you know what, maybe I should take whatever I learned about the enterprise security and bring it to the small niche, to the small guys. They don't know how to handle cybersecurity and help them with that. So I opened the business in Philadelphia. I started there. I had my first customer. Was interesting for 3 years. Then I met my wife to be, and I moved to Brooklyn, New York. You follow the wife. Usually you follow the wife follow the man, but this time I follow the wife. So,
Excellent.
yes. And
Great,
and
great.
and these days, what I'm doing now is again, I have my daily job with helping a small companies, typically 50 employees, with
Mhm.
cybersecurity issues. And
Okay.
at night, I started to do my own thing, which is green energy, and more about the storing energy for long term, generating energy, and using that for different purposes. And this has got more push during the COVID-19. And I said, okay, this is going to be an issue. Maybe we won't have electricity. Maybe we won't have water. So I started to hoard water, and I got
Mhm.
water, and I got energy, solar panel. I said, okay, let's test this. And now I'm ordering phosphoric acid, graphene, all kinds of materials in the house. And my wife, she's looking at me, what are you doing? Are you a med scientist? I said, yes, I'm a med scientist and I like to do that.
Great.
It gives me happiness to do something that I really like and I want to contribute to humanity to some extent. So
Excellent.
this is me.
Excellent. Great, Eagle. Great story. Of course, we're going to be touching a lot of points from that story in the discussion to follow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on board. Over to you, Ketan.
Hey, so I'm co-founder and CTO of Crosscope. So Crosscope is abbreviated for computational microscope. So we are a Silicon Valley-based medical AI software company building flexible digital pathology workflows and AI-based decision support tools for augmenting pathology. Pathology is a branch of science which particularly deals with diagnosing diseases by looking at body fluids or tissues under a microscope on a glass slide. And this whole field is changing, evolving towards digitization. With digitization, as we have seen in analogous to other professions, with digitization comes AI and the whole field of computational pathology, which evolved from there. A bit about my background itself. I have a PhD in medical image processing. I was at GE Healthcare previously and University Paris East in France, where I could do a joint PhD with the industry as well as the academic institution. And it helped me grow a lot, particularly understanding how research could be applied in the industry itself. And that's where the basis for growing, applying my research to a startup, to this venture also began. But prior to that, I did my master's in applied mathematics for machine learning and computer vision in France and ENS again. And I was basically an electrical engineer back here in India, but then I pivoted, let's say in startup terms, and I moved toward the branch of medical image processing eventually. But I would say in past 10 years, I have worked along various different fields in image processing and computer vision, right from digital forensics to autonomous navigation, and now to medical imaging itself. So
Great.
this has been a great journey.
Great, great. So in fact, you pivoted twice. First, you pivoted from electrical to medical imaging, and then you pivoted from a corporate to a startup journey as well. We would, of course, would be glad to hear the story in detail. But great to have you, Ketan, here. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and gracing us with your presence.
Oh, thanks, Frank. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm also glad to join the other panelists today.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Graham.
So what I do now, I'm the founder of BankVault. We're a cybersecurity innovation company. I run a team that basically invents technology and then we try to commercialize it. So we have 6 patents, probably about 20 innovations and 5 products in market now. The really exciting one that we've just released in the last year is called Master Key. So what you can do with Master Key is you can take any website, log in, apply 20 lines of code, integrate an API, and it creates passwordless authentication. And the killer edge that we have over the competitors in this market is that you can deploy this literally within hours compared to months. There's no client software for the users, so they don't see anything. It's invisible to the users. Yeah, it's an absolute killer, category killer. So my background prior to this, was we were developing cloud computing platform technology. Prior to that, it was an IT consultancy. We built our own data center, and my roots was really physics, chemistry, and computer science. I was originally Australian. I am Australian, originally from Perth, Western Australia, and now based in Silicon Valley. So my move to the US was really to find where's the top of the mountain for internet. It's San Francisco. So I've been here solidly now for the last couple of years, and raising more investment, building the sales team, yeah, it's a true entrepreneurial thing of you're trying to do everything. You're spinning multiple plates. How quickly you move is a function of the quality of your network, and how well you collaborate.
No doubt about that. Great, Graham. Thank you so much for touching on those points. It's really great to have you here.
Thanks.
All right. So, so we have people from different backgrounds, as I was saying, and one of the common thing which I observed is Eagle moved from Israel to US, Ketan moved from India to US, Graham moved from Australia to US. So what's the DNA in US, and why is everybody attracted to US? Ketan, this question is to you.
Right. So actually, I moved from India to France first, and I
Mhm.
was asked the question, why not US first? So
Oh, wow. So
that's the
again,
trend we
you have
have
the same
seen.
question again. Why not US first?
Right. Certainly. I mean, for me, France was very interesting because, as I said,
Mhm.
I wanted to pursue applied mathematics, and French have been great at mathematics, and I could get into the best institution over there and build a strong base for my future. So that was the reason I chose France. Certainly, I was also, lucky enough to get a really prestigious scholarship to be part of this institution. But that was my factor behind going to France. But yeah, for the startup, my co-founder, he moved to Stanford, and
Mhm.
during my time at GE and him being at Stanford, that's where we started working on this, and we wanted to kick it off. So we eventually decided to start it from Stanford, which was a perfect place pre-COVID to
Right.
start a startup. Yeah,
Right. So, Ketan, you mentioned about the point that you moved from France to US because your co-founder was in Stanford, right? But
right,
that time you were working still in GE.
right.
So, what was your eureka moment, which came like, no, that's enough. Now let's put the paper down and start your own journey. What was that
Right.
moment?
I guess this I knew it since the beginning. So it was during. So I met my co-founder Jay at in Paris, where both of
Hmm.
us were pursuing our PhDs. We
Okay.
both come from quite complementary fields. He had a biology background, working in cancer genomics. I came from machine learning and applied mathematics, medical image processing background. So we had this why sorted out, let's say, during our past last year of PhD, that
Hmm.
there is this unmet clinical need which we would like to work on, and it was going to impact lives of people. So that's what we knew in last year of our PhD. But later, when he moved to Stanford, I knew when I was at GE that I'm just there temporarily. uh, I would eventually want to move to the US.
Excellent, great. So, one of the key things which you mentioned, Ketan, and which is a very good learning for all, is you had your why sorted out. I mean, you already knew what you want to do and why you want to do, and perhaps that was one of the motivating factor for you to
Right.
move to US and start addressing the unmet or unidentified medical needs of the people
Mhm.
with the vision of helping people out and serving people out at large scale. That's
Totally.
great. I mean, so yes, I mean, one of the important traits which we have, I mean, listening over the past 4 or 5 days from all the entrepreneurs is understanding of their why. Unless and
Right.
until you know why you are doing what you are doing, uh, how part is very easy.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing which remains constant throughout the startup.
Hmm.
Uh, your what and how will keep evolving.
Right.
The problem you are trying to solve, that will, that may also evolve over the time. But why you want to do that, that I think that's the thing which remains constant.
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ketan, with that. So while you were saying that you had a greater purpose identified to helping out people, and I just looked at Eagle, and he was quite smiling on that point because he also has figured out his why recently, which is moving into green tech and becoming a mid scientist as a part of his second job, when his wife is still after him saying that what are you doing in the nights and all of that. So Eagle, you have been into cyberspace, enterprise security, been working as an IT professional, sold that company off. What has changed you to now start to look at energy space more critically, that even you are making your home as a lab?
Uh, I don't know what to say. I think you have some burning inside you
Hmm.
that motivates you. So when I come home and I'm very tired, so I'm spending some time with my family, and then I said, okay, Yigal, you need to get up now and continue with your experiments. Um, and I don't know if say things are changing, but still you wanna do something that will make an impact. I would say this is probably the top from the list,
Hmm.
and also solving challenges, problems. You see a problem and you say, okay, how can I solve this issue? What can I do if you can? And then you want to test it. And some people, you can sit and look at the problem and say, well, maybe I could resolve it, do something, but then you choose not to. And I think you wanna test yourself and see, because also you test yourself and you say, okay, I can do it. Let's see how I can do it, and then you
Hmm.
go all the steps, and then you try to resolve the problem in hand, the challenge that you see. That's I think few of the reasons why uh, we do what we do. Besides getting up every morning and pay the bills, you want to do something else.
All right, great. So the bigger purpose has to be there basically to drive you, not just looking at with an objective of paying out the bills and everything else. So another interesting point Eagle mentioned. Thank you so much. Uh, I mean, today itself, Elon Musk tweeted that Tesla will not accept Bitcoin as a payment option, considering the greener approach, the sustainability approach, and energy conservation approach. So, how do you look at this as an opportunity or a setback to the blockchain world, Eagle?
I was thinking actually about this today because I had a partners here and we had a discussion, I mean, through the WhatsApp. And I was thinking if this is going to make a change, well, it's going to make a dent for a few days and then it will recover because, yes, Tesla, it's very big. It's an influencer in the market. And but the market will recover. People will continue. Now, in terms of opportunity, maybe you can do something that will accept Bitcoins. I mean, it's not like Tesla. Tesla's obviously they have a different market share and they have different influence. But we're gonna do whatever we can in order to push it forward. I mean, we have other competitors besides the Bitcoins and Ethereum and other, like the
Right.
governments. I hear now that Israel is about to issue their own virtual currency, the shekel. And so, what I would do, would I buy the Israeli shekel as a crypto, or would continue to hold other like Bitcoins or other crypto? And I prefer to hold my own currency that it's not controlled by a government. The
Hmm.
less government, the better. This is my philosophy.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great to know that, Eagle. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. All right. Uh, moving to Grim. So, Grim, you have been into this technology space for, I mean, so long. You have won a lot of awards in the fintech space from the startup communities as well. How do you look at innovation and its importance for any startup?
So I think it comes back to the core of the entrepreneur and what is driving you. To succeed as a startup, okay, you can maybe treat a startup as a small business. I don't. That's not the definition I use. I think of a startup as being something where you are fundamentally changing something at a level that everything else can actually just everything that sits on that will actually then change. So you can have massive value that you can add by just finding a unique secret and getting it right. So it is all about innovation. An entrepreneur can see a business process that he can actually fix and improve or simplify, and get a tenfold increase in value for everything. My career, I've always been looking at an innovation where it's at my foot. I can see a problem, and if we can fix that problem, I get an immediate return on investment. This is a different approach to what I see some entrepreneurs doing, where they're casting for the blue sky over the horizon beyond where they can see. And my view of that is that it's really unlikely that you're going to actually get the traction and actually end up doing what you're thinking. It's great to have ideals. It's great to have a direction that you're going. I think it's so important for an entrepreneur to be innovating on something where he knows that if he can get that thing running, fixed, that problem dealt with, that he will get an immediate return on that investment, as in straight away. And if that can then be applied in a large market, then investors are going to be interested. And so not only are you solving the problem for yourself, in a way you get a tangible benefit from, then others can benefit. And so the whole thing then flourishes. And this is how I see Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a place where it is all about how quickly and conveniently can we connect and collaborate. And if the idea is big, has potential, really big upside, then you will get the investment. And so the whole thing becomes a self-sustaining fire. Yeah.
Excellent. Graham, so you talked about innovation, you talked about identifying problems, solving the problems using collaborative network, like what Silicon Valley provides to all the entrepreneurs, and then moving from the problem solution approach to identifying the why and investing or impressing basically the investor as well to invest. So that's basically a startup journey in a nutshell. Thank you so much, Graham, for
I'm just going to say one more thing before I leave. This is kind of funny. This idea about focusing on the why you're doing what you're doing, I think was really brought out by a guy called Simon Sinek here in Silicon Valley about 10, 11, 12 years ago. And I actually went to one of his first talks. And there he is.
This is what I'm having right now. Yes.
So I was in this room with a bunch of entrepreneurs, met Simon Sinek, he gave his talk. We sat around the bar and had a drink with him afterwards. He was a terrific guy. And he's become incredibly famous since. I have a very, very vivid memory of that. And he gave me one of his little medallions. So why is important?
Why is
true Silicon Valley story, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's all why. The answer to why comes from your heart, and your heart will never lie to you, and that's why is important. All right.
Absolutely. And you surround yourself with people that actually believe in you and are going to support your vision. And the whole thing becomes a self-sustaining bonfire. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, self-sustainability is one of the most important thing, because you cannot drive the business all the time yourself, right? The business has to drive on its own. The team has to drive it for you. The vision has to be so strong that people are driven by it. Instead of we asking people for stand-up calls, we asking them to report after each and every deliverable. The team should be empowered enough to take that leap and just report to us saying that it's done.
It's very important to really have a strong, clear, simple vision that other people can believe and trust. And the humbling realization I had a number of years ago, after I'd been here in Silicon Valley for a few years, was that actually all of my success, all of it, was a result of what other people, and other people simply believing in what I was, saying, believing in me. But the success is due to other people. And so, I think creating that brand simplicity, that vision, clear as crystal and simple is so important. The simpler that you get, if people can have an emotional reaction to that, it's where it's relevant for them, where they can actually recount that and describe it to others easily, then you are going to get the success that the idea probably deserves. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So the 2 cents from here, from Graham would be keep it simple and make it relevant. Then automatically you will not only just attract investors, you will also attract a lot of clients. You will have your own team because people can relate to your problems which you're solving, and they will do your publicity. They'll become your team. They'll become basically your sales guy, and the business will continue to be on the roll. Excellent, great, so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Graham. Hey, Krishna, good to have you here. Uh,
Good morning, right? Yeah. How are you
yes,
guys?
excellent. We are doing great, Krishna. We were missing you for around 20 minutes, but it's good to catch up with you. All right.
I was listening. I was in the listening mode, so
Okay,
I was
okay.
waiting for the opportunity.
All right, great. So let me just quickly introduce Krishna to all of you guys. Krishna is currently founder and the CEO of MDX Blocks. He's an expert in designing and developing software solutions using tech stacks, Hyperledger Fabric, Composer, Azure, and DevOps and everything. Uh, he's also been awarded as the top 100 tech influencer and innovators last year, 2020, in September 2020. Currently, uh, he is also helping government and business schools and hospitals all over the globe in managing the pandemic better. He has also donated one of the solution to COVID-19 response team as well. We would love to know more about this, Krishna, from your side itself. What exactly the solution is all about and how you are making things efficient for all the people around.
Yeah, thank you. About myself, I about 25 years of experience in IT. I'm from India, from Bangalore. I moved to USA in 1999. I'm a GC holder now. I'm a
Great.
hands-on person. I do, and I'm not much talker. I'm not presenter now. Usually, I'm a hands-on person. I listen the problem from the expertise, industry
Mhm.
expertise, then silently and go and write some code and see how I can do automation. Automation is my favorite area, and
Great.
eliminating all the errors and manual processes. We're all human beings. We do make a
Mhm.
mistakes, and we try to automate that process. As far as the pandemic solution is concerned, even about I heard about this COVID-19 in 2019 itself when I was on the way to Mexico.
Okay.
Uh, I used to travel a lot. Then I didn't give much attention. Safely I returned without knowing impact of the COVID-19. I
Mhm.
went to again in February. I visited to Canada. After go on the way to Canada, I heard about lot. I was scared, and even I spoke to my partner. Hey, do we need this thing? The way things are going, I don't know whether we'll come back or not. We might stuck in Canada, but we made a decision. Then let's go and see.
Mhm.
And so while ultimately we shut down our trip and we returned immediately. And March was the we shut down everything.
Total lockdown. Yeah.
I was working on a 20 millions project that was badly impacted, and we also lost a few employees and few businesses. But my I shift my gaze towards developing some tools. I realized I spent some time on the pandemic, how it is happened, where it has happened. Then I tried to educate some. Even as I run back in India, I run a school. We have about 800 students and about
Mhm.
50 plus employees.
Wow.
So first, my intention of it is there on the, if you want to browse it, togethertracer.com is the name of the website. And I come up with a solution, and then we started using at school in back in India. Basically, using that school is putting the thermal cameras in the campus,
Okay.
at the gate, and monitoring everything, checking the temperature, starting with the staff, and
Mhm.
then we social distancing. If everyone tested positive temperature, asking them to self quarantine. When they quarantine, also asking their information because during quarantine they're not supposed to touch with anyone, right?
Right.
Then providing,
We can't
helping
hear
them,
him.
giving the service to them while
No
they're
sound.
quarantine. it's a complete application, Then I partnered with one of my ex-boss. He was a my ex-boss and myself worked together in the federal government when I was working in New York.
Mhm.
He's in DC. I approached him, and he was building a community center in Washington DC. He said, "Hey, how about this? Why don't you donate this solution to us, and we are going to use it?" I said, "Go ahead, using it." In fact, I offered many schools in KT where I belongs to. My kids, I have my 18 years old son and 80 years old daughter. Even I ask school to use it, but in the schools is very basically it is a very regulatory process. It's not that easy to get into. Again,
Right.
so I spent about 6 months, 3 to 6 months on that product. Again, I started to shift my gaze towards. It's still available if anyone want to use it. I'm supporting only cloud cost is the only thing they have to bear, and the rest everything is available. We try to give it to the Nigeria as well, different countries, but there it is protocol again. The mobile
Correct.
is required, the net service is required. A lot of dependency. Okay. Then I believe my specialization MDX blocks is about I started this company in 2016 with keeping goal is to have the blockchain as a core, and I started the food industry. But I am me being in Houston, Texas. Houston is a hub for the oil and gas industry. Again, the momentum in oil and gas industry. 2019, as I said, I grabbed 20 millions project, and it is international, Latin America, um, that was badly hit by the anyway. But I did not stop working on it, and
Mhm.
I developed the blockchain as a service BAS, where using that service is a platform, and using that platform, I can spin the network in less than 3 hours to any cloud, targeting to any cloud, even on premises. Some people still using on premises, so it's nothing but instead of again automation, basically instead of creating a
Mhm.
blockchain, manually creating a network, manually managing a network, deploying the smart contracts manually, complete automation has been done. Okay, the name of the
Excellent.
product is first gen, basically.
First gen.
Uh, First gen, yes. The reason of first gen is that is a not only blockchain, but also we integrated with IoT,
Mhm.
integrated with artificial intelligence, integrated with the robotics, integrated with the IR, VR, still still work is in progress, and quantum computing QEC is. So basically, DI dark is our patent, basically, which is pending. It's
Okay.
also bit of supported by the MDX blocks. Okay. So
Great.
basically, ultimately, our goal is to in post. It's like this. Moving, the future is going to be like before marriage, after marriage.
Mhm.
You know,
True.
before college days, after college days, and it is like that before COVID, after COVID. It's not good. Life is not good that way in moving forward. Either it is an individual or a company or a school, non-profit, profit, whether US, Canada, doesn't matter globally, it is impacted, and there will be a culture has to be changed, and people has to follow the guidelines. It's not earlier people think about themselves. Now we need to think about your neighbor. You need to think about family member. Who is going to you? Who is going to where you are going? Where you are coming from? It
Correct.
is life is going to be different. And
Yes.
then COVID-19 is not the last one. You know, so businesses, global whole last year globally is impacted. All the businesses were shut down. Particularly India is second wave for India is more powerful than
Dangerous.
first wave,
Yeah.
more dangerous. Not there. Still, third wave is on the way. In winter, third wave is going to be hit. That's more dangerous to the kids rather than. It's like this. First wave was more dangerous to above 55 and above.
Yeah.
Second wave is more dangerous to middle-aged people. Third wave is more dangerous to the kids. So how are we preparing is a big question.
Yes. I
Relying
mean,
on the government, relying on the officials, relying on the politicians, not going to help.
true. So we require more and more people like you who are actually building products which can help us to be in a good shape in the years to come, so that we don't have to face through a lot of hardships which other people have
Yeah.
already faced. So
My
it's a
drawback
good.
is, I can tell you more, my strength is IT, my strength is development. My drawback is marketing and sales. I cannot do marketing and sales. Yeah, I'm not, I had to tell you this. Okay.
Great, great, great. Even uh, Bill Gates had no strength in marketing and sales, and I mean he was similar to like you, who has his strength identified, which was coding, and was passionate enough to build products and solutions for people around the globe. And I'm sure you would get there as well very soon.
One day, might be one day, one day, but
I'm
still,
100%
you
sure.
know, how
Yes,
much
you will.
time and effort he has put to reach that level, people to listen to him. It's a lot of
Yeah,
effort he put. Yeah.
absolutely. Yes,
So we
efforts are
need
required.
a people, company like yours and all the like-minded people come together. Trust is important, you know.
Absolutely.
Trust is
Absolutely. You
important.
touched upon a great point about the trust. Uh, Thank you so much, Krishna, to be on the panel. Honestly, uh, it's great to have you. We already have very diverse panel here. Everybody uh, is into deep tech here, uh, and that's great. Moving to Ketan. Ketan, as we already mentioned about your love for microscopic things and attaching with that AI, artificial intelligence, bringing into microscopic analysis and trying to identify and serve your patient in the cancer detection,
Mhm.
right? So whenever you sit across an investor, how do you portray the story? What exactly you tell it to them so that they get convinced and write the $1 million check for you?
Right. So presently we are in that phase, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a few things, right? At the early stage that we are, there are a few things that does matter more, I would say. Uh, I mean, what investors are interested today is more about what is strategic about the company, what the technology we are building, what the team is, and what is the execution ability of this team. So these are the things which together play an important role in narrating the story to the investors. So it's not just the technology. Definitely that plays an important role. So portraying the application that we have made, the AI tools that we have made, what our USP is, the unique selling property is, uh, portraying this to investors definitely plays an important role over there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. So you touched upon a very interesting point, is portraying the USP to the investor in the right manner
Mhm.
will certainly help you to get over the line. Great, Ketan. Thank you so much. My next question is to Grim. It's about identifying the USP and portraying again to the investor. So Grim, guys, earlier in the morning, I had a very fantastic discussion with one of the investor, and he's very excited about it. So Grim, why don't you walk us through the discussion which you had and what helped the investor to say that, okay, I'm going to join hands with you. I'm going to give that $1 million/euro check to you. So how was the
So
discussion? We want to know the real story. What what helped you
what?
to secure that funding?
So yeah, what is really always good is hearing the entrepreneurs' war stories. You know, how was the battle? And there's always a lot of bruises. It's always hard. So um, in my experience, I've done this a lot. I've had a lot of successes over the years, and what I've found is it's so important to get that unique selling proposition described so sharply and clearly that the investor or your audience, your customer even, understands it in a heartbeat. And that is actually what the whole point of the communication is about. So I spend an inordinate amount of time honing my pitch decks, reducing and eliminating words wherever possible, to the point where, I mean, I was given some rules about 10 years ago by somebody here in Silicon Valley, which was, at the most, your pitch deck should only have, at the most, maybe 5 to 7 sentences. At the most, no more than 7 words to a sentence. And I use that as a hard rule. And the amount of work that goes into reducing your sentences. But what happens at the other end of it is that when you describe your technology, people, it's obvious, like it's instant. And then you're building on the shoulders of this. So I'll just go back a little bit. When we were developing one of the first generations of cloud computing, I was pioneering the space back in 1995. And we got recognized in 2008 as being one of the leading cloud startups in Silicon Valley. Cloud computing, the term hadn't been defined. I was using it. Nobody else was. We even dominated that namespace on the internet. You was like cloud computing, it would come to us, but nobody was searching on it. Trying to describe cloud computing in a short, clear sentence, like this was like 3 or 4 or 5 lines long as one sentence. It was ridiculously complicated to do. Then the term was created and everybody understood it. We could just use the word cloud computing and people got that in step. When we moved into cybersecurity, condensing that problem into half a sentence, I could describe the problem in literally 4 words. What do? We stop your bank account being hacked. So got it. You got an emotional reaction. It's relevant. It's personal. It's so simple, and anybody can requote you easily, right? That was a huge success factor for us. So when you're speaking to people, then it's identifiable, that they understand the problem, they can see it straight away. So articulating this USP, when you're an entrepreneur and you're inventing and creating and you're innovating new things, getting into a very digestible form where you immediately are relevant and you're earning the right to then elaborate. If you can describe it in half a sentence, someone will say, oh, how do you do, I stop your bank account being hacked. How do you do that? Fantastic. You just earned the right to talk for the next 2 minutes, which earns you the right to talk for the next 15 minutes, which earns you the right to have a proper sit-down meeting and an investor pitch. So I'll just move forward to where we were today, which was kind of really exciting. So we created this technology which creates passwordless authentication onto any website. And, describing that was a bit of a mouthful. We ended up distilling it down to 3 words: passwordless web authentication. We did this in December, and in January, an industry analyst coined the term passwordless web authentication and described it as actually this year they say will be a $35 billion industry growing at 30% per annum for the next 10 years, which is incredible. So this is now suddenly a thing. When I'm talking about it now, I can get that message through very simply, but I've got to make it relevant. Like, how do we differentiate ourselves from all the other passwordless technologies out there? Well, very simple. We are only relevant to web. Okay, so what's your differentiation? I've got to find a really hard, tangible way of describing this in half a sentence. We are 10 to 100 times simpler and faster to deploy. So what? How can that be? Great, let me describe it. Now I've earned the right to actually now elaborate. Okay, we do this by basically making no changes to your backend infrastructure. No changes. There's no client software. This is invisible for the users. There's nothing to install. We eliminate that entire deployment project. You can literally deploy this and there's no risk. So you're constantly refining it down so that every sentence that you describe is adding value and differentiation. So my experience has been when I've got that right, the conversations with investors and customers is really simple. It can be over literally in a couple of minutes and everyone's on the same page. Conversation this morning, we had an introduction to a gentleman in Europe. We're looking at raising a $5 million round US dollars for our company for the next stage. And I'm trying to do this without calling a Series A. I want the Series A to be a fairly big one. And I work very, very, very hard at holding onto this structure. So I'm filtering for people to actually support the ideas that I have. And there's a bit of attrition in that process. The guy that we just finished the meeting with just before this call now said to me, he'd like to take the whole round personally, 5 million, and he'll put in 5 million euros. which is like, so that's about $6 million US, which is like, and he told me the percentage he wants. And he'll get through the due diligence in the next 2 weeks. So he's moving like a rocket. And this creates a bit of competitive tension now with other investors that we're negotiating with. From an entrepreneur's point of view, this gives the entrepreneur leverage. If you have creating competitive tension, you're going to probably get the best deal. It's the easiest way to negotiate is to have other choices. So it's been an exciting morning. I'm thrilled. And actually, I really like this guy. He actually has already invested in our space, specifically our space, so he understands it. He saw our angle. He understood straight away why we're different and why we have an edge over the others in this space of passwordless authentication.
Excellent. So from Grim, we can understand that pitching short, concise statements to the investor is so important because that gets them to hook. And then once they're hooked, you can again buy 2 more minutes. Then you again pitch 3-word statement. You again hook them for next 2 minutes. And that way, basically, you grab their attention and make them involved and interesting about your story. And then that will help you, of course, in your negotiation and choosing the right investor will always help you. Grim, what's the importance of having patent as well?
If I'd done my job well, then I would have said all that in 1 minute, not 5.
Great. Grim, tell me about the importance of patents. Did that help in the negotiation or the valuation a bit?
Patents for us have been hugely valuable. We were always doing really clever innovation. And it was when we, and I, at the time, I always invest 100% of what I have into the next thing I'm doing. It's a story like Elon Musk, except I haven't got to the rocket ships yet. I really admire the guy. He invests 100% of what he has into his projects. For us, the patent idea came along when I was fully invested in my new idea. I didn't have the resources really to file a patent. It's not just filing the patent, it's then all the follow-ons that occur after this. And I put it off. We had so many ideas. It was the day that I actually decided that I would do it. And here's a remarkable thing. I had a lot of support from my parents. My parents said to me, this is some years ago, look, we'll help you. We'll pay for the patent attorney. Excellent. And it was lovely to get that support. I never wanted to take their money. I wanted to do it myself.
Right.
But it was lovely to have that encouragement. That actually gave me the encouragement to negotiate with my patent attorney to help reduce the price, delay the payment terms. The moment we filed it, oh my God, all the investors lit up. It's like, oh, you must be doing something really innovative. We always were. But filing the patent demonstrated to the investors that we could really fine-tune our unique selling point and articulate it in immense clarity. And look, my hat goes off to the guys that actually write the patents. We employed a patent attorney, and the work that he did was incredible. You want to do this so you do it properly, or you're wasting your money and your time. So engage a proper patent attorney. But when we filed that, it's like the investment just happened. Great. And I've had no hesitation continuing to invest a significant proportion of the money we've raised back into developing and refining and expanding the patents. We've got 5 filed now, some of these being granted, and it just creates a foundation that no one can ever remove. You've always got that.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much, Graham, for bringing the point home. Having patent not only stops the competition, but also it attracts so many investors. And because, see, investor at the end of the day, they want to have their money secure. The moment they see that, okay, these guys know the value of patent, they have filed the patent, they have taken actually that step of investing into protection of the core idea of their startup company. That's the more time they start realizing how important this idea is to the team and the efforts which the team is putting into. And that's how they end up putting more and more money into the company as well. So it's a great instrument, Graham. I'll just have to come back to you afterwards, if you allow me to.
Yep,
Yeah, thank you so
sure.
much. So next question is to Eagle. So Eagle, you mentioned that you started, I mean, you sold your first venture out and then now you moved from enterprise level companies to advising small tech companies on the cybersecurity space. How's your experience while dealing with small scale startups and advising them on the cybersecurity space?
So it's it's always a challenge to explain complex ideas, especially cybersecurity and especially cloud. For instance, where's my information stored, and like to grab their attention to explain what is cloud. They say, "Oh, I'm looking at the cloud. So where's the information?" Well, I don't know where's the information. Do you know where's your information? No, I don't. So this is kind of an issue to explain in most simple words about the problem or about and how to solve it. So as Green pointed out, it's about the messaging. And what I've seen from my past experience when I do presentations, um, if I do proper presentations, I have 100% conversion. And this is about conversions. It's not about likes and dislikes or who follow you or how many followers do you have. It's about conversion. And places where customers with I didn't do proper process of the sales process, meaning doing the presentation, 100% failure. So if you fail to convey the messages and make them simple enough for them to understand, then you have a pretty good chance to win the business. That's the key when it comes to the sales point of view, um, which is the pitch, how to pitch correctly.
Great, Eagle. Thank you so much for sharing again your piece of advices on the presentation and how to make it simple so that the audience gets attracted to it and make the sale happen for you, basically. Excellent. Thank you so much. When it comes to cybersecurity issue, uh, the pandemic time has been pretty much aggressive for all the attackers as well. So how do you deal with such new attacks which are coming on a daily basis? Even?
So with that, with the working from home, again, you need to come and think about the challenge here because everybody now works from home, and how do you secure that environment because now it's a new environment. But actually, it's not so in a new environment because if you think about it, if companies were to do what is called a disaster recovery, they would have more than 50%. So I'll give you an example. Customers that we install our security solutions, we already prepare it for working from home. So you don't need to do special things already. You're already there. You just need to tick a button, maybe tick a switch, and you're there. Or you don't need to do anything. You just need to make sure that everything is installed, and that's it. They're online. They don't need to do something special. So I think it's more about preparedness and awareness and how you do that beforehand. And this is how you help your customers. This is the important piece.
Excellent, great piece. Again, it's great to listen to you from your personal experience on how to handle all of these attacks and what are the risk mitigation steps the organizations already have in place. So basically, we don't have to worry about everybody going and adopting this work from home policy for more months to come. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so moving to Ketan. Ketan, we have heard about you moving from education to corporate to startup world, right? You have shared about your experience and how things sort of fell in line for you. There was a partner who to help out, and then sort of start your journey, entrepreneurial journey in US. What piece of advice would you give as a researcher to the fellow researchers who are working or doing path breaking research in the medical field or any other field as well, who are PhD holders or MTechs or masters in the respective technology? and they wish to start their own, but they do not have an idea how to go ahead. What would be your piece of advice to those folks?
Right. I mean, that's certainly a very interesting question, and I mean, there could be a lot to talk about this particular question. I'll still try to keep it relatively short. So definitely, why is important, but what we spoke about already. But when it comes to transitioning from being an academician towards entrepreneur, that itself is a journey. It's a lot of decisions. Starting from the thinking, the way researchers think about a problem and the solution is really different when you go from academic research to the industry itself. And I think uh, understanding and learning this ideology of entrepreneur is important for a researcher. Or I mean, I would say that if not, the researcher may always be stuck at, you know, uh, I would say researchers are the folks who are trained to be excellent, finding the best solution for their problems. Whereas in entrepreneurship, things may not be the same way. And uh, having this, learning this ideology is important. Knowing the problem, knowing your market, that is important before jumping onto entrepreneurship again. Uh, these are some very basic things about starting a business, I would say. But again, as a researcher, these are the things which I would say to start off with if you want to pursue your entrepreneurial journey.
Excellent, Ketan. So thank you so much for being so brief. Mainly, you touched upon the point that researcher has a knack of identifying solutions to every minute problem, because they can go to the microscopic level, identify the problem, and then of course build the solution as well. It relates to completely to your story as well.
Right, but then it's important how you are going to productize. If there are people willing to
Of
pay
course.
for it, identifying these things are much more important when you want to make a business out of it.
Yes. Uh, of course, I mean, productizing everything is important. If you do not have a product, how are you going to sell that a service to the client? Or, I mean, how are you going to show the value addition which your work or the research work is actually able to do? So, in order to convince other people to pay for your product or service, it's important to have something tangible
Right.
as an outcome which will please them, which will excite them, which will surprise them,
Mhm.
and
Totally agree.
make them to lose some weight of their pockets.
Right, and I think researchers know this well through their peer-reviewed research articles that they publish out to say
Right.
that, yeah, this is the work that we have done. This is something tangible, and I think equivalent of that in the entrepreneurial world is the patents. So having your own IP, I think researchers could relate this to this fact very, very well.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Thank you so much, Ketan, for sharing all of that. Krishna, if you can listen to us, you there?
Yeah,
All right. Can we see you as well?
sure.
If you can,
Sorry.
yes. All right. Uh, so Krishna, you have been one of the active tech innovator and influencer in the country. What would be your piece of advice to people who are sitting at home right now thinking that, okay, COVID is there for another year, another time, and nothing is going to happen? People have lost their jobs, or people have lost their businesses. Now they have to pivot. What advice would you give to people who are thinking for pivoting right now?
You know, I don't know about India, to be honest, jobs point of view, but always there is a short of skilled people. Sitting at home, one is taking care of their health, their family members, also and stay healthy, right? Um, the jobs point of view, always there is a demand for the skilled people, and only thing is they had to update their skills, uh, what their areas. Yeah. I can tell only with respect to IT, but non-IT people, definitely there is opportunities. Lifestyle will be different moving forward. Businesses, as per as concerned, they have to look for the business continuity. Mostly companies has to heavily focus on the wellness program for their employees, and there are some like IT people like me and all, we can work from home. That's not a big deal. There's a plus and minus for them. But there are some mechanical engineers, field engineers. For them, they had to visit. One of my friend company, they are in a civil engineering here. Every day he has to go to office, right? And he has to maintain the social distancing and ask the advise the consultant, his employees to maintain social distancing. Still is going on in civil engineering side also, where the physical presence is required, right? Yes, there will be change in the culture, as I mentioned earlier. There's a protocols to be followed. And need to respect each other. Everybody have their own limitations. Work style will be different moving forward. There are some cultural changes as to will be driven, and we're all ignored in the past the environmental changes. So we need to taking care of the environmental changes as well.
Great, great. Nice piece of advice is from Krishna again. Thank you so much. So it's all about banking on the skills is important. If you have the right skills, you got to trust your gut, and actually the skill will help you out because you have a trust, and you can actually sail the boat. So that's great. Thank you so much, Krishna, for bringing those points very accurately. Uh, I'm moving to Eagle. Eagle, how much important is it to pay personal attention to the clients in a service business?
How important? It's very important to know what they need, but also try to expect or
Mhm.
imagine what they would love to see, and try to come and present it maybe to a few customers and see how they respond to it, and then try to roll it out to everybody. But it's always a challenge because I remember one time they asked the creator of Model T, is that they asked him, okay, what car you would like, or what kind of, he said, okay, a wagon with 1,000 horses. So you don't know, people may see something else, but you as an inventor can see something else that may be even better than what people are expecting to see. So, it's it's kind of a challenge here. So.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for touching on that. All right. So we are about to wrap up the session. The discussion has been pretty great so far. We talked about innovation landscape. We talked about the innovation journey of a particular startup, right from importance of USP to type of deck you should be preparing, the amount of statements you should be writing, on the number of words you should be using to rather pitching to your customer or an investor, the valuation part, the patents part. It was all great, nice. So what happened is I was the one who was asking question to all of you guys. Now I want to sit back and give you guys floor open for next 5 minutes, so all of you can ask questions to each other or to me as well. I'm a patent attorney based out of India. I help clients ranging from soft tech, deep tech to pharmaceutical to autonomous vehicles as well. And been in this practice for last 5 years. So if you have any questions related to patents, copyright, trademark, or any other thing as well, feel free to shoot out to me or to your fellow panelists. The floor is all yours, guys.
And as I've got the only one without the muted microphone, I'm going to go first. I'm just interested to know more about the cybersecurity technology that you were developing, running, and selling, and whether there's potentials for synergy with what I've been doing. Silicon Valley style, let's see if we can collaborate.
So the question is to Eagle.
Oh, but I didn't get it. I'm sorry. I actually interested in your technology when it comes to, so I wanted to ask you what exactly that you do, how you resolve the problem with the password, how do you eliminate to enter the username and password. So you can tell me about API, which is excellent. It's more technical term than anything else. But for me, like I'm testing security, API security, which is similar to web application testing. So, but exactly how do you do that? I don't know if you can say exactly, but what exactly, how you?
It's basically we've created a new protocol so that when a user is touching the screen to say, for example, to press the letter A on their screen, we never create the letter A. What we're doing is we've created a protocol where we're connecting the users. We sit between the web server and the user's mobile phone browser. What we're doing, that's a link pin that basically will always be relevant because the future is web. The web server, the goal here is to actually create an encrypted keyboard on the user's mobile phone. So what we do is the web server creates a unique secret, gives part of that secret to the mobile phone. The mobile phone creates its own unique secret. It combines these secrets. This actually creates the algorithm that we use to encode the cells on the screen. We present a photograph of a keyboard onto the phone, but there is no keyboard. When the user presses the letter A, we actually generate 48 characters. It's encoded. So if you intercept that, you've got nothing. We store it, we further encrypt it, and as it comes out of store on a second use, we then transfer that basically back in a second encoded form. So the information is now double encoded and encrypted. It can only ever be deciphered by the web server in combination with the user's mobile phone. And if we wanted, we can add another layer of that, which is proof of presence. So for example, your fingerprint. Your fingerprint never leaves your own local phone. Just a really, really clever system. This happens in microseconds. It's instantaneous. It means that for a user experience, when they go to a website to log in, if it's sitting on their workstation, we'll present a QR code. If you scan the QR code with your phone camera, we simply transfer that website login page onto your mobile phone. It recognizes you instantly and authenticates you. Your system logs in. So the experience from a user's point of view is they never need to enter or remember their credentials again. There's nothing installed on their phone or workstation. And for the organization, they can deploy this straight away because this is a cosmetic change to the website. We're not changing anything at the back end. Every website on the planet uses username passwords. We're not changing that. That authentication engine is always behind the firewall. That's not the problem. The problem is always the end user's device. Keyloggers, man of the browser, login credentials. It's account takeovers. So that's how it works in a nutshell.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest challenges with the account takeover, especially with the passwords list and cracking those passwords, running those lists endlessly until you have a login. So just to understand, so let's say again, if I want to log in, so I go to the website, let's say to my banking website, and the bank will show me, present the QR code. I'll take my phone, take a snippet of the QR code, and then it will authenticate me and let me in. Is that correct?
Correct. It'll do it in under a second. That's exactly right. And this is not just banking. This could apply to literally any website.
Yeah, of course, yes.
University, medical, anything. Yeah.
Right.
So we can also take other information and encode it as well. So we're using this for passwords at the moment, but it could be your cryptocurrency private key.
So on the phone, you install an app that is connected to your what? So
no, this is the genius of it. There is no app. This is purely web, and there is nothing installed.
So how you transmit the QR code from your phone from the camera? How you transmit that?
So you'll find that most cameras include QR reader in the camera software now. So you just open the camera on your phone and point out a QR code. It'll want to open up a web link.
Oh, so you say you take it and then it will go directly take you. The QR code you have already embedded in the QR code. You embedded the URL to do the authentication.
Exactly. And another security secret that is presented, and that's where the thing starts here. If you're on a mobile or a tablet and you go to the website, there's no QR code. It's just completely seamless. Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Excellent.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to collaborate, you want to try this on your own website. It's
Sure. I'll always,
simple. Yeah.
yes, yeah. But one of the things is to be early adopter than late adopter. This is
Ah,
one of the things when it comes to technology. If you identify something that may be an impact and it's very important, you want to seize the opportunity. So I want to seize the opportunity and talk to you and see what we can do together, definitely. So
That's great. Yeah. One of the issues that most people have is being very careful. How secure are you? How can I trust you? What we're doing is actually this is the user's normal input. Okay. What we're doing is we're abstracting it away from the user and the user's device, so they never enter it again. It's now controlled by the web server, by the institution, or specifically by the institution in combination with that user's mobile phone and
I have
with their
I have
fingerprint.
I have a challenge for you. Would you allow us to do penetration testing for your application?
Absolutely, because
Okay.
you can knock yourself out with this. The information is double encoded and encrypted. Like
I
if
Okay.
you
would be
intercept
happy to
it,
get the
you've got
results as
nothing.
well. I would
What
be
did you
happy
say?
to see the results.
I think we should put this on the Photon website. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, one of the benefits of this session, which I can clearly see, is the cross collaboration. That's great, guys. I mean, you guys are such a fantastic panel. You started talking about the business as well, and that's great. That's one of the reason why we wanted to have people from different background, different domains to come on the common platform so that we can see the synergies and start taking things to next level. That's great. Great
But
to
besides the technology, I see also that in in terms of sales and marketing, we share some of common things. So it
yes,
definitely can go. But thank you
absolutely.
very much. Yes.
Anyways, Ketan, you want to share something?
No, I mean, I really want to thank everyone. This has been really a great session, a lot of learning. I would definitely love to connect with you, girl, and Cream offline, fellow panelists. I mean, this has been amazing session and really enjoyed this one.
Agreed too, Keaton. Yeah.
Excellent, great, guys. So post this, we will actually be going to be pulling out a lot of snippets out of the discussion which we had, the candid discussion we had. Those snippets will be posted on the social media platforms as well. And one of the recordings of the entire session will go on YouTube and also on the podcast. So we are present on Google, Apple, and Spotify for the podcast. We'll share the links with all of you. Let's share that across the network so that more and more people can listen to us and get benefit from the secret sauces which you guys share today. Excellent, guys. Thank
Sounds
you
good.
so much. It was
Thanks
wonderful
very
to have
much.
you all.
Thank you very much for organizing this. So,
Thanks,
Thank you.
All
Sid.
right.
Thank you. It was a great session. Thank you, everybody.
Great.
Thanks.
Look forward to have a one-to-one with all of you in coming days.
And Krishna is still in stealth mode. Hopefully, we can connect with him as well.
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Guys,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Be safe. All right.